Hello, hello, how are you doing? Salut, I am the Rasta Witch. Here's where we learn the way of the Yan Sui Rasta, which is to say, my kind of ital. Please subscribe and begin your own kind of Yan Sui witchcraft. All roads lead to Rome. Home. Hi, how you doing? Okay, so this video is usually I just kind of like improvise, it's called. But when I have at these moments when I've got a bunch of information, if I do that, it'll be too long. So in this case, I think that it's best that I read this, and then it'll make it better for everyone, I hope. Okay. Today we are going to take a Yan Sui look at how to pick a deity. Thank you to all my new YouTube subscribers, by the way. I pray I can save you time by throwing down some stepping stone seeds as you put together and navigate your own personal journey home. Okay, what do I mean by take a Yan Sui look? I mean, what I mean is to differentiate what I am doing from what the scholars of religion, the occult, and theology are doing. The Justin Sledges from the Esoterica channel, Religion for Breakfast, Dan McClellan's, and Angela Puka's of the world are what they're trying to do. I'm also differentiating what I am trying to do from what historians, archaeologists, and scientists are trying to do. Those people are all in search of the truth, so they must stick to facts and evidence. And I love them for it. They are my heroes and teachers. The Witch's Magical Handbook speaks much on the importance of always learning as a witch, always improving and adapting, and growing like a seed in your journey home. Home being the all now. But what the Yan Sui are trying to do is create a healthy and effective lifestyle. Those of us that are parents know what it is like to care for our own child. But in all reality, we too are our own child. We must care for ourselves in the same way one would their own child. In fact, it's the only way to effectively care for a child. It starts with you, then the others. You and yours, like they say. I came across a perfect example this week of this video's subject. See, I love you guys. You are in my heart always and forever. As I put these things together. But it starts with me, like with what the Yan Sui say here. The spiral times of the medicine wheel. Okay. What I was watching, I was watching this video, like I just mentioned. The video's from Dan McClellan. And he's good. I've mentioned him and recommended him many times. And the title of his video is, Are There Hidden Messages in the Hebrew Alphabet? And I'll leave a link in the description box. It just came out yesterday, so it should be easy to find today. But the video is of a Christian that clearly watched either one of my videos or someone else's, something similar. And he kind of gets what the correspondences in the Kabbalah are about, but he doesn't understand the facts and evidences about it, which is why Dan McClellan chimes in. That's what his job is. And Dan critiques this Christian, being the seasoned scholar he is. And Dan is incredible, I must say, even though right now I'm critiquing him. But you'll see what I mean. But If you watch my videos, you would start to realize Dan doesn't really understand the Kabbalah very well either. Like Ivy the Occultist said in her video this week, there are some people are what witches call armchair occultists. Dan is an armchair occultist at the end of the day, and a damn good one. He's also a Mormon, and I come from a Mormon family. I was a Mormon missionary from 1990 to 92, though I wasn't very active in the church at any other time, but so I sometimes have a little insight with them, so I get it. And so here's our example. The Christian in this video says the Hebrew letter Vav is a picture of a nail, and that the alphabet has layers, and that there's pictures, and that Vav is the picture of a nail. And then Dan explains the Hebrew language is newer than that guy thought. It's only between 3,000 and 3,100 years old. And he explains the Hebrew language is not pictographic. The Hebrew characters in the alphabet are not pictographic, but they are acrophonic. Acrophonic means it is based on how to sound the letters. He explains it started out pictographic, borrowing things from Egypt mostly, but that was before it was really a language people used. 3,000 years ago, they only cared about how it sounds. Now not what the pictures of the characters are. And he explains creating meaning to what they picture happens much, much later. It is post-biblical. And he mentions the Kabbalah, but it's obvious he doesn't get how that really applies here. He was able to tell the Christian had been learning from a Kabbalist, but the fact that he says the Christian is completely wrong about saying Vav means nail proves he just doesn't really get it. I mean, Vav is one of the letters of the Tetragrammaton, so that's like about as fundamental as you get. See, the Yan Sui look is to learn from Dan. You know, the Yan Sui style is to learn from him. We now know the Hebrew letter correspondences weren't established until post-biblical times. But the Yan Sui, we think the Bible is 80% fiction anyway. Scholars are trying to expose the ignorance of the authoritarian tyranny of the past. The idea everyone must believe the same thing, worship the same God, or they go to hell, has long ago been deconstructed for some of us. See my video on the Tower card. So the war between the Christians, Jews, and Muslims with the scholars is only educational to the Yan Sui. It keeps us sharp and on our toes so we can be more confident. But to be frank, it's asking the wrong questions for what the Yan Sui are doing. Dan didn't even notice that saying the pictures in the Hebrew alphabet are based on Egypt is all we care about. We aren't trying to speak Hebrew, nor are we trying to prove or disprove Christian beliefs. We do believe the Tarot and the Kabbalah are based on Egyptian origins. Anyone that knows some of the secrets of the Rosicrucians, Masons, Illuminati, or the Golden Dawn knows this stuff. And frankly, any Rasta knows it as well. The right question is, what works for me in my craft? Because all roads lead to Rome. No one else can do it for you, and no one else can do it for me. They can teach you, giving you stepping stone seeds, but like Karen Armstrong says, it's something you do, not something you're taught. Your evidence are your experiences. Okay, that being said, how to pick a deity? It's much like dating, if you have certain things in common with the person you're dating, then it's probably going to go well. If you have like the same music, or if you're the same religion, or you're the same this or that, you know. So it's the same kind of thing, you know. Um, you pick a deity kind of like in the same way you pick a friend, or and for the same reasons, you know, in most ways, you know. In the Witch's Magical Handbook, it reminds us that all gods are created by the hands of mankind. All of them, 100% of them. However, they are often based on things that are beyond us, often more ancient than us, like the sun or the moon or whales or alligators. For example, the sun. In Egypt, the sun is worshipped. Ra, right? Probably the most known fact from ancient Egypt, Ra, the sun god. But beyond that, the words, images, and deities associated with it are all created by the hand of mankind. Common mistakes humans have therefore made throughout history is the idea that just because the human created image comes from ancestors, that it is the same today, yesterday, and forever. Not only are they actually created by humans, but they evolve along with our understandings and needs. So they're therefore not the same today, yesterday, and forever. None of them are. Never happens. We see this with apologists today. They think the Bible, for example, has always been coming from the same place, that it's univocal. That the Adam and Eve story, for example, is correct scientifically, and all who disagree are misled by Satan. Or that the authors in the Bible have opinions about LGBTQ peoples, or whether to eat cage-free eggs or not, etc. Those things didn't exist in the way they do today. You're going to have to look to science or discern your own path on some of things like that. The higher path for these modern times, therefore, is diversity over elitism. Anything else is a rumor of war and ignorant. All roads lead to Rome. The Witch's Magical Handbook recommends just making your own deity. Just get a sketch pad and draw one out, as ones from the past can carry too much baggage. But family history, roots, traditions, cultures can all be a powerful tool if kept in proper perspective of the bigger picture, as I just discussed. To get to the point more quickly, I will make an example of myself. I just had a sex change surgery, vaginoplasty. I am mostly recovered, and after 9 years of hormones and all the many things that I have been going through, it's time to reboot, time to reorganize and adapt everything in my craft. So if you are just learning in this stuff, I am doing it with you, and I thank you for that. Learning from my elders, the sadhu of India, shamans and witches, I know an early step is to find the deity to whom you wish to devote yourself. The sadhu I have studied much, and my ancestors coming from India. Some of them dedicate to Shiva. Shiva has dreadlocks, and his eyes are red because he is always stoned on cannabis. So his devotees also grow dreadlocks and smoke cannabis, for example. So a big part of choosing a deity is how it will affect you. Like how choosing a friend can affect you, or someone you're trying to date, like I said earlier. So can the deity also affect you. And you don't need to only pick one deity. You might pick a theme also. That might not, maybe you're an atheist and you just pick a theme that you're devoted to, not a deity. I am an Anglo-Franco-American. My ancestors come from England, Ireland, or Scotland. My dad didn't know his biological father, which is why we are redheads in my family. I dye my hair black. We're French Canadian, obviously before that from France. And my American roots are from Salem, Massachusetts, since the Mayflower. I am a descendant of John Proctor from the Crucible. And one part of my family is from India, like I just said. So my genetic background is mostly the United States of America, being the melting pot, as it's called. But being such a young country, we have always borrowed from typically our roots before that. My son is what I am, also, obviously, he's my son, but the other half of his genetics is Hispanic, so Spain, and the Apache tribe. His great-great-grandmother, I believe it is from the Mescalero tribe of New Mexico. But his background from Spain, which is what he mostly is also a red-headed people. So as far as me and mine, the largest common denominator is Anglo-Saxon and the Celts. The Celts were in Britain, Spain, and France, and were red-headed peoples. So the Druids, Arthurian lore, and the Bards. We were witches, basically, until we were forced to convert Christian with the Romans. Biblically, we, here in America, are the tribe of Manasseh. Manasseh would speak a non-Hebrew language and have a big, rich, and powerful nation to the west of Jerusalem. And we would be with Ephraim, who would live on an island, Britain, as it's called today, the British Isles. To learn how I have historicized this video, or how I have historicized this, watch my videos, The Tribes of Ephraim and Manasseh, ? And Is the British Royal Family of Judah, HWA Parts 1 and 2. I will leave a link in the description. It's something cool that the Rasta elders have taught me about my own peoples. At the bottom of this playlist is a video entitled Catholic Witchcraft, where another witch goes over her similar story. It's quite common among witches. I will also link that video. Basically, the way the Catholic Church has borrowed from the pagan roots of the people they forced to be Christian makes it convenient and appropriate for many witches. We use the art, candles, incense, and the Kabbalah in our craft, but are by no means Catholic beyond that. With my past issues with depression and drugs, I really love the non-judgmental, unconditional love, merciful, and warmth of Mother Mary. And Jesus is my favorite hippie dreadlock with his rebellious nature and disgust of Babylon. His style of loving one another taught to him by his mother. And a witch needs a deity, unless you are an atheist, I guess. You do you. That has both a mother and a father concept. You know, the masculine of the universe and the feminine. So Jesus, who I call by his Hebrew name Yahushua, is the masculine, and his mother Mary, the feminine, for me. On the cross, according to the myth, Jesus said Mary is all of our mother, father and mother of the universe. But in my mid-20s, when I was going to kill myself, I chose not to, so I could keep smoking cannabis. Anyone with real street smarts knows cannabis is the only choice. Like the Bible says, the friend that's closer than a brother. So I also use Haile Selassie as a deity. He represents the biggest picture of love, unity as a species. I also work with Saint Michael, and of course I believe we all have two guardian angels, one for the day and one for the night. So here are my candles. I told you I'm rebooting everything, so these are my not rebooted ones. Here's my candle to Mother Mary. Is that in focus? Here's my candle to Mother Mary. It's got the Egyptian Mother Mary on it. And here's my Yaoshua one. And it's got the Egyptian Yaoshua. And they're each one, you can see I've got runes and symbols, and they're each a different color. You know, here's my Haile Selassie one. So right now I'm just going to make a new Mary and Jesus one. But these are my main concepts, all borrowed from Christianity. That's Saint Michael defeating Lucifer, and one for the guardian angel. See? So those are my my old candles that I'll still use all of them. I'll still use all of them when it's appropriate. But later today I'll do a separate video on my reboot for Mother Mary. Here's a picture of that candle, and later today I'll do a video and I'll go into more detail about that. Okay, one more important thing. Remember to be respectful. Intermarrying deities and such from different places like a chaos magician is effective, but you don't want to invent a new concept for yourself, then lie and say it's ancient when it's not. Because you don't want to erase someone's tradition. So make sure you're just honest, you know. Okay, I hope you enjoyed the video. Now I'll put that into practical terms, and I'll show you. I've rebooted my Mother Mary candle, and you're gonna like it. I hope. I love it.